Real Madrid's first big transfer, Amorim to sign PSG star, Guardiola finds Haaland replacement, Vinícius' ultimatum to Real Madrid's board. All this and much more in today's episode. If this video gets 500 thumbs up, it will give us the incentive to keep making new videos. So enjoy the show and let's get started. On Vinícius' table right now lies an absolutely staggering offer from Saudi Arabia, a whopping €1 billion over 5 years. It inevitably raises the question, how long will Real Madrid tolerate such flirtations from their Brazilian forward? The stakes are high, the dice have been cast. Can the legendary Royal Club outdo the oil money? After all, Vinícius has already had his salary increased multiple times, yet now he's reportedly asking for wages on par with Mbappé. And let's be honest, we're likely talking about those astronomical €70 million a year before taxes, not a modest €15 million net. Some might say, just standard negotiations, nothing new. Footballers always push for the maximum. True, but here's the irony. Real Madrid isn't exactly known for backing down either. The so-called Madridismo spirit has long represented not just big victories, but also loyalty to the club. And now, we're witnessing how money can crush even the most romantic notions of devotion. But is Vinícius really the cornerstone player worth shaking up even an institution as massive as Real Madrid's budget? It seems the management believes he is. Though, let's admit it, paying two stars €70 million each is a financial puzzle with insane variables. Doubting Real Madrid's ability to scrape together the necessary sum? Think back to their years of transfer maneuvering. From the Galacticos of the past to the stars of today, Madrid consistently finds ways to generate funds. The difference now is that they have another fixed expense on their books, the renovation of the Santiago Bernabeu. Plus, La Liga's strict financial regulations keep their budget under close scrutiny. Every new mega deal feels like a leap into risky waters. You might resurface with a refreshed championship-winning squad or sink to the bottom under a mountain of debt. Think about it. Is it worth Real Madrid jeopardizing their financial stability? Here's the paradox. Selling Vinícius could patch up many fiscal gaps. But if it happens, fans will suffer a new heartbreak, as Vinícius has already become an icon of the club's recent successes. And who would ignite those blazing flank attacks without him? Ancelotti's tactical setup might suddenly lose its edge, turning into a bland Madrid stew without its signature spice. Perhaps negotiations are already underway behind the scenes. Can Real Madrid persuade the Brazilian to stay? Will Los Blancos go all in, offering Vinícius an unprecedented deal? Or will they let him go, tempted by the financial windfall and the prospect of rebuilding the squad? For now, we can only speculate. What do you think? Should Real Madrid fight tooth and nail to keep their Brazilian star, or is it time to let him head off to the Saudi beaches? The management of Barca seems to have finally lost patience and has presented the Dutchman with an ultimatum. He's been given three options. Either go on a low-calorie diet, meaning he agrees to a pay cut, pack his bags and look for a new club, or, well, the grimmest option. Warm the bench until the end of his contract. Not exactly a rosy outlook, right? You can understand the Blaugrana bosses though. They've decided to do some serious housekeeping in their financial department. And De Jong, with his astronomical €30 million salary, has been a thorn in their side for quite some time. Let's be honest too, he hasn't lived up to expectations. Remember how he was once touted as Iniesta's successor? Well, where's that Iniesta now? Sure, Frankie isn't a flop, but he's no genius capable of carrying the team on his back either. There's been interest in the Dutchman, of course. Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Bayern, not exactly small names in the football world, but Frankie doesn't seem like the type to sacrifice his comfort for the sake of sporting ambition. Life in Barcelona, with that kind of salary, is clearly treating him well. And here lies the conflict of interest. Enter Saudi Arabia on the horizon. The oil-rich sheikhs have been snapping up anyone who's made even the slightest name for themselves, and De Jong, it seems, is no exception. Rumor has it they're offering him a 3-year deal with a post-tax salary of €15 million, almost the same as what he earns at Barca. But with one catch, over there, he won't be dazzling anyone on the pitch, but rather casually kicking the ball around. Is that really his dream? To wind down his career in a league where the level of play is far from elite? As for Barca, they'd seemingly be thrilled to offload such an expensive burden. All they want is to lighten the wage bill and get back to the infamous 1-to-1 rule to avoid further awkward situations like what happened with Dani Olmo's registration. In the end, everyone gets what they want. Frenkie keeps his money, Barca protects its interests, and Saudi football gets another star. But what about Flick? At first, Hansi truly believed in Frenkie. He even gave him a key role in the lineup and encouraged the Dutchman. However, it became clear that it wasn't just a dip in form that was to blame for the player's struggles. A persistent ankle injury robbed him of the chance to show his level on the pitch. In the end, Barca's rising stars like Gavi and Casado left the Dutchman with no chance to reclaim his spot in the starting Utd. And now, a transfer to Saudi Arabia feels like a fall into the abyss, from the heights of European football to the sands of the Arabian Peninsula. Sad, but true. So, what's next for Frenkie? Is this the end of his career at the top level? Will he make a deal with his conscience and choose money over ambition? Or will he find the strength to rethink his priorities? Will he leave a lasting mark on football history or fade away as yet another overrated player lost in the flood of petrodollars? Kevin De Bruyne, the symbol of Manchester City's era of dominance, is seriously considering a move to MLS. The Belgian's contract expires at the end of this season, and negotiations for an extension seem to have not even begun. City is hesitating, while clubs from across the ocean have already cast their nets. Moreover, according to media reports, the current favourite is San Diego FC, a new MLS franchise ready to kick off its history with a major transfer splash. The club's first match is scheduled for February 2025, and they want to sign De Bruyne even before the ball hits the pitch. Sounds ambitious, right? But it's worth asking. Why the USA? There are two reasons: money and family. De Bruyne has repeatedly emphasized that America is an ideal place for him to live after the intense seasons in Europe. And when you add family support to the equation, it becomes clear the choice is a conscious one. But let's talk about the main point. Is City really ready to part ways so easily with a player who has been the face of the team for the past few years? Kevin earns £400,000 a week, the salary cap in the Premier League. And apparently, Manchester has decided that renewing the contract on the same terms is a luxury the club is not willing to afford, especially considering that the Belgian has played the role of a supporting character rather than the main star this season. Only 7 starts. Isn't that a signal? And what about Saudi Arabia? Al Ittihad and Al Nassr are clearly not against inviting Kevin to their ranks, but here's an interesting point. According to Rumours, their offers pale in comparison to the midfielder's American dream. The Saudis might be ready to shell out millions, but convincing De Bruyne to move to the desert seems to be more difficult than expected. Now imagine MLS with De Bruyne, Messi, Busquets and Suarez. The league is turning into a football Disneyland, where every game is like a superstar show. How do you like that twist? But San Diego will have to try hard, because they are competing not only with the Saudis, but also with Inter Miami, David Beckham's project, who knows a thing or two about high-profile signings. And here comes the most important question. Is it really time for De Bruyne to leave? He's 33 and injuries are not uncommon. But is this the end? Or perhaps Pep Guardiola already sees City's future without Kevin. The fact that the club is not rushing to extend his contract hints at just that. Maybe it's time for the citizens to rebuild and for De Bruyne to seek a new challenge. How do you come to terms with the fact that a club legend, a man who was the engine of the team, is leaving? But what if this is really the best solution for all parties? MLS may not be the most prestigious option, but hasn't De Bruyne earned the right to end his career on his own terms? What do you think? Is it time for Kevin to find a new stage, or should City do everything to keep their icon? It seems Guardiola, seeing his citizens falter, has decided not to beat around the bush and snatch Jonathan David from Lille as early as January. The guy has certainly racked up a ton of goals for the French side, 101 goals in 209 matches. And he wasn't just running around aimlessly. He also clinched a league title and the French Super Cup. This season, as they say, life's not the same without David. 17 goals in 26 games, he's working his socks off. Lille, of course, needs to mentally prepare for his departure. His contract is running down, so either this winter or in the summer of 2025, the Canadian will be moving on. Initially, City were aiming for him in the summer, but it seems they've figured that with results like they're having now, just 1 win in 13 matches, what's that all about? Waiting until summer is like waiting for Godot. Haaland, of course, deserves a statue while he's still playing for his goal-scoring feats, but carrying the team single-handedly is too much even for a player like him. David, in my opinion, would be perfect here. A prolific scorer, hungry for victories, and the price tag is reportedly quite reasonable now. Lille, of course, had ambitions of around £60 million, but now, considering his contract situation, it seems a deal could be struck for around £25 million. As they say, strike while the iron is hot. City, like the true giants they are, aren't sitting idly by. Their scouts are keeping a close eye on David. They're doing personal viewings and behind-the-scenes analysis. These guys know a good striker when they see one. They don't just pick anyone. And then, Barcelona appears on the horizon, also keen to bolster their attacking prowess. The Catalans, they say, have also been looking at the Canadian, weighing up the pros and cons. David's performances in the Champions League have apparently given them more confidence in his quality. And he's no slouch for the Canadian national team either. 31 goals in 59 matches, the stats speak for themselves. Manchester City are clearly determined, and the January window could be decisive for them. They need a forward who can either replace or complement Haaland, and David, it seems, fits that role perfectly. The price, of course, could still change, but as they say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Lille will certainly be sad to let their leader go, but as they say, nothing lasts forever. City, on the other hand, will be pushing all the buttons to secure the Canadian next month, and here's the main question. Will Guardiola be able to pull off this transfer trick? Will David become the ace up their sleeve that puts City back on the winning track? Share your thoughts in the comments, let's discuss. After all, as they say, it's a funny old game, and the transfer window is always a theatre of the absurd and brilliant decisions all at once. Everton is at it again. Seriously, how else would you describe what's happening with Jarrad Brantwaite? A young, ridiculously talented defender being hunted by everyone. Liverpool, Man United, Man City, all of them grinding their teeth, ready to snatch him away. Meanwhile, the Toffees are scratching their heads, wondering, is he really worth it? Just think about it. The guy's value has already hit £75 million, even by conservative estimates, and yet he's still earning peanuts. One of the lowest salaries in the team, like some poor relative standing next to the cash-soaked big boys. This is pure surrealism, folks. It's as if Everton's management lives in some parallel universe where ambition and common sense are dirty words. They've even got new owners now, the Friedkin Group, who gave fans hope. And yet, here we are. Nothing has changed. Word is, Brantwaite himself is open to staying at Goodison Park, where he's settled in nicely. But how can you resist when Manchester United is waving a fat wad of cash in your face, offering £160,000 a week? That's more than what some of Everton's fattest cats are making. Sure, the Red Devils aren't exactly in their best form right now and have plenty of financial troubles of their own, but that kind of money? That's a whole new level, you have to admit. You see what I'm getting at? Everton's strict wage structure is admirable in theory, but when it comes to keeping a player like this, can't they make an exception? Or do they genuinely believe they can have their cake and eat it too? Or maybe this is some masterful strategy, dragging things out to absurdity just to sell Brantwaite for a higher price later. Although, knowing Everton's track record in recent years, this feels more like another, forgive me, blunder. How many times have we seen this club lose promising players just because of their so-called frugality? And now, with the January transfer window looming, the club seems to be in a state of blissful calm. As if they don't realize that Brantwaite isn't just another name on the squad list, he's the backbone of their defense, the hope for a brighter future. Losing him wouldn't just mean losing a quality defender. It'd be like taking the rudder off a ship in the middle of a storm. In today's Premier League, you're doomed without a solid defense. And if this kind of talent ends up joining a direct rival for what's essentially a bargain price, it'd be a slap in the face to the fans. Sure, some might argue, so what? You can't just overpay everyone. But damn it, football, like life, is about taking risks sometimes. And with new owners in place, with supposedly unlocked financial resources, now is the time to act decisively. Or did the Friedkin Group come in just to bask in the glow of English football before quietly bowing out, like so many others before them? Brantwaite isn't just about current stability. He's an investment in the future, a potential goldmine if and when the time comes to sell. So, what's the bottom line? The Brantwaite situation is a litmus test, a measure of Everton's maturity under its new leadership. Can they break free from their overly conservative principles and keep the player? Or will we once again witness another transfer drama where a talented player leaves for a pittance, leaving the Toffees empty-handed? Honestly, I'm afraid to even guess how this will end. But one thing is clear. If Everton loses Brantwaite, it won't just be a mistake. It'll be, I don't even know what to call it, a true footballing tragedy. What do you think, folks? How will this saga end? Manchester United has suddenly entered the stage of high-profile transfer rumours, setting their sights on Nuno Mendes from Paris Saint-Germain. The Portuguese player is either about to break free from his golden cage or end up on the bench of unfulfilled potential. The question is now really the moment when PSG would risk parting ways with their young star? The intrigue lies in the fact that the 22-year-old defender's contract is nearing a critical juncture. With just a year and a half remaining, negotiations with PSG have stalled. Rumour has it, Mendes isn't thrilled with the terms being offered, and now word comes that Manchester United has already made an official bid. Coincidence? I think not. Why is Manchester United so eager to sign Mendes? The answer is simple. The Red Devils don't have a stable, reliable option on the left flank. The injuries to Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia have become a systemic problem. Whenever one recovers, the other inevitably ends up on the sidelines. Meanwhile, Diogo Dalot is trying his best to cover an unfamiliar position, even though he already has enough on his plate defending his natural side. Clearly, in this situation, United needs a highly dependable player, and, jokes aside, Mendes might just be the left wing, capable of adding pace and attacking sharpness to their lineup. Moreover, the stats speak for themselves. 90% passing accuracy, nearly 6 duels won and 5 tackles per game, all achieved in League One, where neither dribblers nor ambitious coaches are given much breathing room. On top of that, Mendes is unafraid to join the attack, make runs, and play the role of an all-around workhorse on the flank. His price tag of £46 million doesn't seem exorbitant, especially for a player who has already proven he can perform under the pressure of a top club while maintaining high levels of performance. For now, it seems PSG isn't ready to let Mendes off the leash. They're hoping for a happy resolution to negotiations and a new long-term contract. But as history shows, when a player feels undervalued, tensions can escalate to the point of no return. The player fans the flames, the agent pours fuel on the fire, and club management is left shrugging helplessly. Paris Saint-Germain may have managed to hold on to stars in the past, but now? What if Mendes says enough and asks to reunite with Ruben Amorim, the coach who developed him at Sporting? This, of course, raises the question: can Manchester United strike a deal with PSG's skeptical leadership? More importantly, could the Red Devils end up signing a player who arrives in England only to be plagued by lingering injuries and perpetual tactical reshuffles? It wouldn't be the first time a big-name signing fizzled out in the chaos of disjointed rotations and dressing room discord. That said, the pressure at Manchester United has already been sky-high for years. The club is desperate to reclaim its glory days. Could young Mendes become their new icon of flank play? Or will he burn out, overwhelmed by yet another wave of instability? For now, all we can do is closely monitor the twists and turns of these negotiations. Who knows? Surprise compromises could emerge in the coming weeks. What do you think? Can Manchester United finally lock down their left flank with Mendes, or will PSG show their trademark resilience and refuse to let their talent go? Let's discuss in the comments. The decision is made. Trent Alexander-Arnold has declared his intention to join Real Madrid next summer. Can you believe it? Liverpool's defensive cornerstone is ready to leave the club where he became a symbol of a new era. It seems Los Blancos have pulled out their old free transfer card and are ready to play it again. For years, Real Madrid has eyed Trent like a diamond that would fit perfectly into their royal crown. And now, with Alexander-Arnold's contract winding down, the Madrid side finally has the chance they've been waiting for. As for Trent, he seems tired of the endless speculation and has decided to put an end to it. The irony of fate, in January, Liverpool could have received some money for their leader, but Trent wants to leave on a high note. Apparently, he prefers to end his Merseyside story with applause rather than the whistles of disgruntled fans. Marca claims that Liverpool's management has already come to terms with Trent's departure. What do you think is the real reason behind this decision? Perhaps it's about the money. Or maybe Trent simply wants to try himself in a new environment, where every touch of the ball is accompanied by shouts of "Hala Madrid." They say Ancelotti sees Trent as the ideal successor to Carvajal. And do you remember how Madrid signed Rudiger, or how they lured Mbappé as a free agent? It's their signature move, waiting for a star to ripen and then hitting the jackpot. But who knows if this strategy will work this time? After all, La Liga is not the Premier League. The pace is different, the demands are different. And what about Trent? His friendship with Jude Bellingham is another interesting detail in this story. Who knows, maybe Bellingham has already whispered a few words to him about how wonderful it is to wear the white shirt. Real Madrid is not just a club, it's almost a religion. And if Trent is looking for new motivation, a new challenge, then where else but at the Santiago Bernabeu? But let's think. Is Alexander-Arnold's loss a catastrophe for Liverpool or a chance to reboot? On the one hand, they are losing not only one of the best right-backs in the world, but also a symbol of their attacking philosophy. On the other hand, it's an opportunity to refresh the squad and inject new blood. The question is, who can replace Trent? Does Arne Slot already have a plan B? Or will it be an urgent purchase in the winter? Trent's story is not just a transfer, it's the end of an era for Liverpool. Fans are already divided into two camps. Some understand his choice and wish him luck, while others call him a traitor. What do you think? Who is right in this situation? And could Trent's departure be the beginning of the end for Liverpool, or is it just another stage in their evolution? For now, the questions remain open, and the speculation continues. What awaits Trent at Real Madrid? Will he be able to live up to expectations? Or will this be another case of a Premier League player failing to adapt to La Liga? Leave your thoughts in the comments and we'll keep an eye on how things develop, because this story is far from over.